In May 2026, a team of engineers at one of the world's most powerful AI labs reviewed their own codebase and found something that stopped them cold. More than 80% of the code running their systems, the code building their next model, was not written by humans. They wrote a report about it. Then they called for the world to consider hitting pause. What happens when the thing building the future is the future? Anthropic has been careful with language for most of its existence. The company was founded by former OpenAI researchers who left specifically because they believed AI was moving too fast. They built Claude. They published safety frameworks. They used words like alignment and caution in press releases, while the rest of Silicon Valley used words like moonshot and disrupt. So when Anthropic uses the phrase recursive self-improvement in an official report, not a speculative blog post, not a researcher's personal essay, but a formal document about their own production systems, that is not a company being dramatic. That is a company telling you something is different now. The shift didn't happen in a secret lab. It happened in plain sight through a product called Claude Code. Claude Code launched in early 2025 as a developer tool. The pitch was simple. Let Claude write, review, and ship code faster than human engineers alone. Productivity gains were the headline. Startups adopted it, then larger companies, then Anthropic itself. Through 2025, the share of Claude-authored code in Anthropic's own codebase climbed steadily. At first, it was a single-digit percentage. Useful, unremarkable, the kind of statistic that shows up in a quarterly product review and gets a nod. Then, the curve changed. By late 2025, internal tracking showed Claude Code wasn't just assisting engineers, it was handling entire modules, debugging systems it had previously written, proposing architectural changes. The humans in the loop were increasingly reviewing and approving rather than originating. By January 2026, the number had crossed 50%. Engineers noted the pace was not linear. Each improvement to Claude's capabilities fed back into how quickly the next improvement could be developed. The tools Claude built made Claude better at building tools. In May 2026, Anthropic published the figure that circulated across every major tech platform within hours. 80%. Over 80% of all code merged into Anthropic's production codebase in the preceding quarter was authored by Claude, not suggested by Claude, not assisted by Claude. Authored. The humans reviewed it. The humans approved it, but Claude wrote it. The report used a specific term for what this trajectory represents: recursive self-improvement. It is a concept that has existed in AI safety literature for decades, usually as a theoretical threshold, a point researchers warned about but assumed was distant. The definition is precise: a system that can meaningfully contribute to improvements in its own successor systems. That is what recursive self-improvement means. And Anthropic's own data suggests it is no longer theoretical. The stakes here are not abstract. Anthropic is not a small lab running experiments. As of mid-2026, Claude models are embedded in hundreds of enterprise systems, government workflows, legal platforms, and research pipelines worldwide. The codebase Claude is helping to build does not stay inside Anthropic. It ships. It becomes the next Claude. That Claude then helps build the one after it. The loop is not hypothetical. The loop is the current production schedule. What makes the May report remarkable is not just the number. It is the company's response to its own finding. Anthropic simultaneously disclosed the 80% figure and called for a global governance mechanism capable of pausing frontier AI development. Not slowing it, pausing it. They described this as an option that should exist, a kind of emergency brake that no single government or company currently controls. The same organization accelerating the curve publicly argued that humanity needs a way to stop the curve. Both things are true at once. That is the tension no one in this industry knows how to resolve. Some researchers who reviewed the report pointed out that human engineers still approve every merge, that the loop is supervised, that this is not a rogue process. They are correct. But they are also describing a version of control that becomes harder to exercise as the gap widens between what humans can generate and what they can evaluate. Reviewing code you did not write is different from writing code you understand. At scale, at speed, with systems of sufficient complexity, the review becomes increasingly formal. The rubber stamp problem is not science fiction. It is an engineering management challenge that is arriving faster than the governance frameworks designed to address it. The 80% number will be higher by the time you finish watching this. That is not speculation. Anthropic's own report describes the trajectory as accelerating. The same feedback loop that took the number from low single digits to 80 in roughly 18 months does not have a natural ceiling built into it. The engineers are not removing themselves from the process, but the process is changing around them faster than most organizations outside Anthropic can currently perceive. There is an old question in AI research, not a technical question, a philosophical one. At what point does a system stop being a tool and start being a participant? Anthropic just told us they are not sure where that line is, and they are the ones who built it. The AI that writes the next AI is already here. The question now is whether the humans in the room can keep up with what they have made, or whether they have already handed that decision off without meaning to.